60 plus minutes. So anyway, I'm sure that this item and the need to discuss retiree health started about the time that the retiree health program started, because it's something that retiree health plans, all health plans, are something that you tend on an ongoing basis. What was interesting in preparing for today's report was going back and finding a report that had been done by the Executive Office in 2006. And that report was occasioned by a Legislative Analyst's Office report from the state, because it was at that time that the GASB 45 rules were coming out, talking about needing to determine the full value of your retiree health plans, and starting to prepare for that. And it was starting to hit the larger counties because it's been phased in, and as one of the smaller counties, we were several years down the road. As you know from the report that occurred several weeks ago, we do have the actuarial report in response to the GASB 45 rules, and we are now having to look at that, and 2008-9 is the first fiscal year that those numbers of the future value of retiree health need to be reflected in the county's financial reports. So we found this report from March 2006, and what I did was go through what the Legislative Analyst's Office had recommended that counties do, and then in 2006 we had said, okay, this is what Mendocino County is going to do in response to that, and I was looking at it from the perspective of 2008 and what we have done. So one of the things that the LAO report talked about in 2006 was that we needed to have, all counties needed to have, an actuarial valuation consistent with GASB 45. And in 2006, we said we're going to do that. In 2008, we have done that. And you've gotten that report, and it was actually presented to the board on August 26th. So the first part of all of this has been completed by the county. The next thing that the LAO report talked about was long-term funding, and they talked about creating a work group that can evaluate pre-funding of retiree health benefits, healthcare trends, and actuarial reporting. And we have a number of committees in place, and you'll be hearing, I'm sure, from those committees and people who've participated in them. And this has been an ongoing discussion for at least the last 2 years. And so that's part of what I want to put out here. This is not a new discussion. This is not something that came up just a month or so ago or even several months ago. This has been ongoing since 2006, and it's part of a statewide trend of counties needing to look at what's happening with their retiree health plans and needing to plan proactively for dealing with the future. Then the LAO report went on to list options for reducing future retiree health care costs because of the, I'll say, presumption that they made that in having a true picture of the financial costs, that there would be of necessity some need for counties to look at those plans, particularly as they're heading into the economy that we know day by day is taking hits. So the LAO talked about increasing the share of cost to the retiree, reformulating the health plan design, and establishing a defined contribution program that allows for a set amount that would be contributed by the county, rather than defining what the benefits would be and then everyone trying to match the costs of those. Those were the three recommendations they talked about, and each of those have been looked at, as you'll see when we get to the staff report. And then they talked about, the final thing is determining the future unfunded liability of the retiree health plan. That Aon actuarial report that you received last month did in fact do that. The actuarial report estimates the number of future retirees in Mendocino County, in other words, current employees who could retire in the future and are eligible for retiree benefits, health benefits. They estimate that number to be about 459. So roughly that's about a third of your current employee population. And the total unfunded actuarial liability, and if you remember that report, there were lots of different numbers. So we picked a number of unfunded actuarial liability, and this is the total, is around $125 million as of July 1st, 2007. Those are high numbers. That number would be substantially higher had the board in 1998 not established limits on the eligibility, which was a fiscally prudent thing to do, but it also has left people hired after that time without retiree health benefits. And I think that's part of the message in all of this. There are no win-win solutions in this particular thing. You have to look at the financial issues, you have to look at the people issues, and ultimately whatever is decided is a balance of those two things. So moving on to the staff report for retiree health benefits. That's the next pages here. And I received some feedback on this after it had been released, so I did make a correction, which I will get to when I will point out when we get to it. So the summary of this issue is that Mendocino County, like a lot of counties in California, provided retiree health benefits to retirees. And then, as you know, they were provided on a voluntary basis. They have not been subject to negotiations or in the MOUs of the